Hello, this is Gavin Patterson from Studio 1790, and in today's video I'm going to talk about stock plugins in Cubase. So all my videos I've done up until now I haven't really mentioned stock plugins in Cubase. It's mostly third-party plugins from companies like Waves and Slate Digital. So I'm going to demonstrate a couple of stock plugins that come with Cubase. So we'll go straight in to a session I've got here and get right into it. So what I've done on this, if I show you on here, I've turned off all my inserts on my effects channels. See, they're all grayed out here along the top. So I'm going to start from scratch and see how I get on. So in Cubase, you've got some tabs down here. So you've got EQ, strip, sends, all that stuff. So I'm going to be using the strip plus the EQ. So as you can see, I've already made some changes just before I started recording, just to play around with it, because I haven't used stock plugins in the longest time. I used to only use stock plugins when I first started. But yeah, this should be interesting. So we'll start. This is I've played this song before on the YouTube channel. So this is just a song called La Casa Roja from Eriska, my own band. So yeah, check it out. It's on Spotify. So I'll play you a little bit of the song just now, and you'll get a feel for how it sounds. Okay, so it's pretty chill. I'll just set up a loop just now, and we'll go into the mix window. So, cool. I'm going to bring up, we'll start with kick drum. So, let me just solo that, and we'll have a listen to see what it's doing. Okay, that's with no EQ. So, I'll show you what I've been doing on the EQ. So, bass and high, it seems. So let me just turn that back on again. Okay, there's the kick there. So that's a really wide cue I've got there. So I was just messing around with this earlier. So we'll try and focus that in a little bit. Wow, it's really a lot of sub there. Okay, I think I prefer the wider cue here. It's more natural. The narrower you make it, where are we? This one. The narrower it becomes, the more unnatural it sounds. So I think I prefer it quite wide on this kick drum. Yeah. And bypass. Yeah, that's good for now. So I'm doing quite a lot there. That's at 21 decibels of top end. The big, massive sweep up towards 20k. Crazy. I've actually not used this EQ for like 4 versions of Cubase. I usually use be virtual mix rack, so yeah, I'd usually use something like that or something like that. But this is all switched off just now, so okay, we'll move on. I've got no compression on this at all. I barely ever compress kick drum, so I'm just going to move on. So we'll go to snare. Okay, I'll turn off everything I'm doing just now. Yeah. Okay, that's the snare dry. So I've got a gate here on this channel strip. So let me exaggerate that. Hear that? So every time the snare hits, the gate cuts off after it's been hit so that you don't get any bleed. But that's a little bit too exaggerated, so that's nice. Okay, EQ. So I've added in a little bit of a low-end punch here. I'm going to increase the Q a little bit. Sounds good. Compressor. I don't really like this compressor, so I'm going to add in another. So I've got all the stock plugins here. There's quite a lot in Cubase. I mean, that's a good chunk of plugins. That all comes with Cubase, the Pro version. So I've got Cubase Pro 12 open just now. So this is the dynamic session. So I'll pick a compressor. I don't know. What sounds nice? Tube compressor. What's that? I have never seen or used this in my life before, so this will be fun. I hate it. That's disgusting. I hate it so much. Let's try this one. It's too much. Okay, that must be a good one. What's that? This looks like a limiter. I don't want a limiter. See, this I'm actually learning as well. Expander. No, I don't want that. Or let's just try compressor. Vintage compressor? Oh, this looks interesting. Okay. Whoa. There's a horrible frequency happening. I'm going to try and get rid of. Nope. Oh, for goodness sake. Let me just put that onto a bell. Right. There it is. I hate this compressor as well, I'm quite honest. Let me just try a standard compressor, see what that does. That's kind of the one I had. Right, 4:1 ratio, fast attack, no hold, fast-ish release. Okay, let's try with the kick drum. Okay, that's somewhat usable. Right, okay, so I don't like any of those compressors. There you go. I haven't tried them all, but nah. I don't know what this. I don't know what half of this stuff is. That's a channel strip. That's the Yamaha channel strip that comes with, I think, my interface, because it's a Yamaha interface. VST dynamics. So that's just like, that's a gate compressor and a limiter all bundled into one plugin. Yeah, the compressor isn't the best. Let me compare it to my old trusted 76. Okay, this is not being hit very hard. Let me just whack it up. Oh, just the way that this one just squashes those drum hits is just so much nicer. But yeah, it would be because it's, yeah, I bought it separately. So obviously, on some occasions, you'll maybe want to buy external plugins, third party. But I mean, the compressor isn't bad. It's not bad. It's just not what I'm used to, I guess. So it's not bad at all. Okay. So that's the sound I've managed to get from the kit from just... So I'll just quickly go over some of the other stuff. So EQ on the snare bottom. Basically just loads of high end. Nothing much going there. I'm just getting a crack to go with the top. Solo, the overheads, same deal. I've taken a lot of low end off. Let's try that. So it's not too bad. I'm not doing all that much, to be honest. Strip wise, I've got compression on the snare top, and I've got, and the cool thing about the Cubase stuff, you can rearrange all of these. So you've got noise gate, EQ, compression, but you can put these in any order you want, which is kind of nice. You've got like saturation, there's tube saturation, some limiters, there's a de-esser, envelope shaper, if you wanted it. And you can just kind of drag them around, kind of like VMR, Virtual Mix Rack, kind of like this, except this is better. Now, let me hear, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you before and after. Let me just shut that down now. So I'm going to give you my original mix versus my stock mix. So the plugins I would usually use versus Cubase plugins. So this is Cubase. Okay. And that was my plugin. I'll do that again. So, okay, this is Cubase plugins only. Okay, and my normal plugins. Dry, Cubase. There's not much in it, to be honest. I just noticed the third-party plugins have just got a little bit more kick, a little bit more punch, little bit clearer, a little bit more natural. The Cubase plugins sound very clean. I found they sound nice. Don't get me wrong. They're just very. They've got a sheen to them. They're just extremely transparent and extremely clean. Because the EQ I'm using is like the most digital EQ you could ever think of. So it's really accurate. But the EQ I would usually use would be emulations of like that. So that they're more. They've got more character. They've got more. They're more musical to my ear. But you could certainly mix a song with these stock plugins and it would sound absolutely fine. If I hear it with the rest of the music. That sounds pretty respectable. Let's hear the drums and bass together. Sounds good to me. And we'll compare the bass before and after. So I'll turn off the Cubase stuff and I'll put on all my original. Okay, here we go. This is the bass with Cubase plugins. And then third party. Again, same story again. The Cubase stock plugins are just a little bit cleaner, a little bit more boring, if you want to look at it that way. And I'm doing roughly the same thing. So in case you're like, oh well, you know, you're mixing it differently. Not really, because like I'm adding some low end. Taking a wee bit of top, adding loads of top, and then a bit of compression. That's exactly what I'm doing here. Bit of top, adding a bit of bottom, and adding some compression. I'm not really doing that much more, but I've got like, you know, tape machine emulators and preamp emulation, console emulation. There's a little compressor there as well. So it just sounds a little bit more glued to me. But if you're starting out, certainly there's nothing wrong with mixing with stock plugins. Definitely not. Nothing wrong with that at all. Because I remember when I first started, all I had was stock plugins. So you have to start somewhere. If you're, you know, you've just got a DAW and you're like, oh, I've just discovered all these plugins, Universal Audio or Waves or Slate. You can get into some severe debt, shall we say, if you start thinking you need all these plugins. Just get by with what you have first. And it's about workflow as well. Like trying to mix with those stock plugins was a bit of a nightmare. It just felt totally alien to me because I'm not used to that workflow. I've gotten myself into the plugins I like and how they work, and just knowing where everything is, knowing where to grab things. It's habit, it's muscle memory. Find the plugins you like, and don't go out of your way to just go on a purchasing spree, because I've certainly done that. I've got a plethora of plugins that I have never really used, and I've bought them. I went out and bought them, and there's some plugins I've maybe used 5 times ever, and then there's other ones I've used 2,005 times. So don't be conned by all the marketing. You probably don't need it. That's a good rule of thumb. You probably don't need it. You can certainly mix a good sounding song with stock plugins. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like below and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And hit that notification bell if you want to receive updates on future videos. If there are any suggestions at all, please leave them in the comment section and I will definitely reply to you. I'm totally open to suggestions on future videos, any subject that's to do with recording and audio. Send them my way and I'll see what I can do. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video and thanks for watching.